Oh, I see. It says record. All right. Yeah, let me hit start here and then we'll jump in.
Sure.
What's up, everybody? This is the new and improved podcast. This is the Wolfburger podcast now. Changed the name instead of good old Wolfgang's Random Ass Podcast, which I thought had a nice ring to it, but here
Worked for
we
me.
are. Or yeah, worked for me too. But all right. So I'm here today with my buddy, my compadre, my amigo, Dave from Off the Post.
Hi, I'm Dave.
How you doing today?
Doing good. It's actually my day off from work. We've been doing solid 4-day, 10-hour shifts every week now. But it's 3 days off and I get to relax.
Well, there you go. That's always a good thing. I enjoy
Oh, yeah.
relaxing too when I can. So you're in the band. Oh, I was knocking my mic over. You're in the band Off the Post. How did you get into music in general?
Oof. This goes back. I'm an old man, so this goes back
Uh,
a few
I'm right
years. I grew up in northern New Jersey.
there with you.
So I grew up around a lot of the like Eat Town Concretes and like what is it, Biohazards. Like a lot of those kind of bands would be playing, and a lot of metal bands, but then there was a bunch of ska bands, and there was a bunch of great like punk bands that were coming out. And when I was a teenager, Drive Through Records was the thing. That was like, those were the bands. So I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to have all those Jersey bands like Census Fail and Midtown, like those kind of bands be on that kind of label. That was the most influential stuff for me, because like, being a Blink 182 fan and a Sum 41 fan, and then finding out that there's a smaller community of bands that play the same kind of stuff, maybe not so up there, but there was other bands that doing that kind of stuff. And coming into it like completely not knowing anything about the punk rock world, not knowing anything
Mhm.
and only knowing what you get fed commercially. And then I kind of took
Yeah.
the whole influence of like, okay, I heard Green Day, I heard Blink 182, I heard Offsprings, and I was like, okay, I can get into this. Like, this is what I want. And then I learned like Bad Religion and then The Descendants and stuff like that, and started tracing it back and everything like that. And sorry if you hear my girlfriend in the background. She's working in training, but
Oh, no worries.
you
It's
gotta
all
do what you
good.
gotta do.
All good.
But yeah, so growing up in Jersey, having, I mean, growing up in one exit away from where the Misfits always sang from, we are 138, I was 137. That was my exit.
Nice.
So I, seeing Misfits a lot playing, and that sparked that love for me for music. I was like, fuck, you can be a weirdo and still have like a little bit of a place, like a little corner of the world.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's what drew me in. I was like, wow, I can still be weird and like Dungeons and Dragons, or like robots, or like whatever, like really be into science, but then like be brutal as fuck with this music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I think that's one of the things a lot of people don't understand about music is that people always think like musicians are just like all they know is music, and it's like such a big misconception
right. I was a
about
computer
artists.
nerd before a musician. Like
Yeah.
I
I
fixed
mean,
computers. I used to build motherboards and breadboards like off the rip, and like I used to
yeah.
build guitar pedals before I was even into music.
Well, it's just funny because it's like when I stop and think about it, it's like there's a lot of Led Zeppelin songs that are like have references to Lord of the Rings or The
Mm-hmm.
Hobbit or stuff like that. And then you also think of like Brian May, the guitar player for Queen. He's an astrophysicist. Like it's this
Is he the guy
crazy.
from Judas Priest? Isn't he like a pilot and
So
also
yeah,
like
yeah,
like a
he flies
physicist or
the
so whatever?
plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just like it's insane to think about like the this wide open spectrum of things that musicians do as a whole, other than just music. But people sometimes get this like closed minded idea that like musicians only know music and then they don't know anything else.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like music is my passion. I love music. Music is kind of everything that and anything that I know, or everything that I know. But bills gotta get paid, so you gotta learn other skills.
Yeah,
That's
no,
just the way it fucking
absolutely.
works.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. If you're not out there nationally touring
Unless
with a
you're John
song like,
fucking Mayer or whatever.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah. So how did you? you said you're from Jersey, so when did you come down to here in Florida?
It's been excuse me. It's been like 7 years now since I've been in Florida. I moved around a little bit. Grew up in North Jersey, left North Jersey, went to like Maryland for a little bit, in Annapolis, lived in
Hmm.
Annapolis for like a year, left Annapolis, came down to Florida, since my dad got sick and everything like that, stayed with my dad, my mom for a little bit, and then kind of got sick of coming back and living with the parents kind of thing. So I up and left, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to California. Like, I want to go to California. I'm going to California. Got on a
There you go.
plane, bought a one-way ticket, went to San Francisco. Was hanging out in San Francisco for about like a year or two, and then got homesick. And I just wanted to go back. And it wasn't even like Florida. I was like, fuck Florida. I'm not going back to Florida.
Yeah.
So went back to New York, found a place in Queens, lived in Queens for a little bit.
Shout out to Queens. That's where I'm from.
There you go. Hell yeah. Astoria, Queens is where I was
Okay. I was born in Flushing, so
living.
not too far.
Not too far, not too far. There you go. And then came down back to Florida. Once dad got a little worse. So I was like, all right, it's time to go back down. And then I ended up staying. So I've been here for about 7 years. So I mean, I'm still fairly new. So like the scene and even you, like our friendship is still fairly new versus like
Yeah.
for the
No, I mean
time that I've
it's crazy that you
been
say that
here.
because like it was maybe 3 years ago now
Mm-hmm.
that we met, and we just met by happenstance because it was literally I was sitting at home one night and I got a message from the other guitar player of your old band, for the life
RMNTX?
of me.
Oh, for the life of me. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
God.
And
We don't
it
talk
was
about that band.
yeah, well this is how we met is I get a message. It's like maybe 10:30, 11 at night, and I get a message and it's like, hey, my band has a show this Friday. A band dropped off. We really need someone to come fill in. Would you guys mind uh, filling in? You guys being my old band, New Arrival. And
Mm.
I was just like, hey, yeah, I'm like, I gotta ask the guys, but like, I'm all for it. Oh, see, there you go, a little plug. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I gotta ask the guys, and I wound up falling asleep. And like the next day, I had like three messages, like,
Listen,
hey,
don't feel
uh,
guilty because Matt would fall asleep. There was one show we had at O'Malley's that we were supposed to play, and Matt was literally asleep 5 minutes before we were supposed to go
oh,
on.
jeez.
5 minutes
Yeah,
before we were supposed
he
to go on, and
like
had to rush him out the door and get him to O'Malley's. It was the
I had like
worst.
three messages, like, oh, I guess like you can't make it, and I was like, no, no, I'm sorry, like, yeah, yeah, we're down. And then we went there because it was like a Friday night at Beer Punks, this like
Beer
little
punks,
hole in the
yeah.
wall.
Beer punks, yeah. That
And
place was awesome.
I remember, and I tell everyone, like, this is literally the story that I tell everyone um, about when I realized that the scene I was in, because I always played hardcore music before this, and then like New Arrival was like the first like quote unquote pop punk band or whatever, yeah, you want to call it. Um, so it was like a completely
I
different.
can't even call it pop punk anymore because we're looking for a singer currently. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I have to promote it as not like as a pop punk band looking for a singer. It's like a
yeah,
punk alternative band looking for a
yeah.
singer.
Yeah. I mean, labels are stupid anyway. What does it
It's
fucking
the
matter? Like
dumbest shit in
music's
the
music.
world.
But yeah, it was funny because I tell everyone, I was like, the moment I realized that like the scenes, even though it's the same, I'm still in South Florida, just the hardcore scene into like the not hardcore scene, that was the show that made me realize like I like this scene so much more than the hardcore scene down here. The
As much as
hardcore
the
scene,
hardcore scene wants to say they're together and community
oh, it's
and
not.
we're
No,
all, no way.
no.
There's always a red versus blue, me versus you kind of shit, and
It's
that's
very like we're like the top shit, like we're king turd, king shit a
yeah.
turd mountain, and you're
It's like
just
we
like,
get it. You're brutal. Like you're
yeah,
riffs
like
rock,
dude,
bro.
nobody
Cool.
fucking cares. Like
Yeah.
just go out there and play your music. Like I promise you, no one gives a fuck like what you think of yourself.
Right. That's why I like
And
pop punk shows so much because like you can have like a ska band and then you can
mhm,
have a little bit of a heavier band, like a screamo-y kind of band or whatever.
yeah,
and then have like a full, like an Alistair kind of play. Like you could have Alistair, Finch, and Hello Goodbye or RX Bandits on the same bill, and look at that. Like they all kind of mesh well together.
Yeah. Yeah. But that show was the first time I was like, man, this scene is just so much better because we played last. We didn't even know when we were playing. We were just like, yeah, we'll take it. So we wound up playing last, but everyone was still there. Which, if
Mm-hmm.
you've ever been a local show, you know when you play last, nobody's left. You
Yeah.
might get like one of the bands left,
Right.
and like their girlfriends and like the bartenders. But everyone was still at that show. Everyone was so super supportive. Like we were loading in our shit, and like people were like holding the door open for us, and we were like,
And mind you, beer
"Oh
punks isn't big. If you've never been to
no,
beer punks, like it's not big. It's like it's my living room big.
yeah, it's not a
Like
big venue at all." But
yeah,
it was packed,
but it was packed. It
and
was
there was
like
like people
having
outside.
it felt like having a really successful house party.
Yes,
Like that's what it felt like.
absolutely. You felt like we were the kid in high school that had a party, and you were like nervous, but then like everyone showed up, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm fucking mad."
Yeah, I'm a shit, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was that show, and I was just like, damn, that like this was like so cool because everyone was so like so many people came up to us and were like, oh, thanks for jumping on the show, like, oh, your band's really cool, like we never seen you guys before. And I was like, well, no, thank you guys, like you guys invited us out, like if we didn't get invited, we would have never even played this show.
Right.
um so like that's the story that I always tell everyone. I'm like, that was the time I realized, like, okay, maybe this scene is a lot better than the hardcore scene. And like, not knocking the hardcore, it is what it is, like scenes are gonna be, everyone's gonna be
Oh
different.
yeah, I mean, you even with pop punk scenes, it's more like, oh, we have it more put together and polished than you, and that's the more like, oh, hoity-toityness of pop punk. It's like we're
Yeah.
more polished than you. Where like hardcore is more like, yeah, we all look like shit, and we all know like sometimes we sound like shit, but like it's
Yeah.
brutal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, hardcore is all about like, we're the heaviest, we're the heaviest. Like, no, we have more chugs than you. Like, no, we have more chugs than you. And pop punk is it's the bougie hardcore. It's like
I
no,
love it though. I
we're
as
we're
much as I'm
sadder than
cracking on
you.
it, I love it though.
Yeah, it's but you gotta love it, like because it's almost comical when you see like quote unquote like beefs between bands, and you're just like, why are you like, you guys play the same shit? Just shut up and
Right.
enjoy it.
Right. But I mean, like, again, even if you take it back to like the older days, early 2000s, there was no bands beefing. It was more like bands were just like, who can we tour with that will help us get like more exposure for each other?
Hmm.
Like, there was no, I honestly don't remember any kind of, the biggest thing I remember was Burt McCracken and Gerard Way making out and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Like,
the
oh my god,
biggest,
the
like,
two Frank guys made it out. Ugh.
yeah, that was the biggest scandal I remember. And then, well, I mean, not biggest scandal in pop punk. I mean, there's been worse.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm talking about early 2000s here, before the Me Too culture. Before
Yeah.
front step porch or whatever, front porch steps or whatever the name is.
It was a different time.
Showing my age.
Social media wasn't a thing yet.
It wasn't. All you had to do was know how to code HTML, and your social media was on point. That's it.
Yeah, like, oh, I have to
RIP
put
MySpace.
slash bold slash
Yeah.
italics.
Oh, hey guy. Oh man, I went to this show. I remember. God. Sorry. I remember in Jersey, it was a thing for bands, like local bands, like you had to like rub the right elbows to get on the right top eights or the top fours. Like
No, it was the same thing here. I think
oh,
it was
it
just a
was
MySpace thing.
yeah, it was just like whose dick can I suck the most to get on their top eights. That way,
Yeah.
like when their people come to their page, I'll get on it and they'll see me as well.
See, I always liked when MySpace finally did was like, well, we're gonna give you 4 extra. You have a top 12 now. Like, thank God. Like my friends stop fighting over like a top 8. Like, I don't even give a shit. Because it was always like my girlfriend at the time, and like my
Right.
brother, my dad, and then like some of my closest friends. And then people were like, why am I not up there? It's like, 'cause I don't fucking talk to you. That's why. Like, you don't need to be up on my top 8 for us to be friends. Like, I promise you, we're friends.
Yeah, the only thing is adding like the top 10 or top 12, adding those extra two spots, like I would always like I'd keep my like close friends up, but then those last two spots were going to be reserved for like my favorite band. Like it was like Blink 182 was
Yeah.
always one of them. Blink was always took a spot. Still will always, if I had that option, I'd be like, yeah. And then it would be Mark Hoppus.
Yeah.
It would be Blink and Mark Hoppus.
Why is Mark up there, Nemi?
Have you heard his music?
Yeah, because you're not a Blink. So you mentioned now that you're looking for a vocalist for your band now.
Yeah, we're looking for a vocalist now for the like 17th time. I mean, we've had some member changes even since, I guess, the last time you saw the lineup for Off the Post. We got a new bass player. Chris has left the band. Chris had a new baby,
But,
new baby girl. So I mean, I had to a lot take on and stuff like that. So we wanted to, give him his chance to be able to be dad and be a good dad and everything. And he's a great dad, and he's doing his thing. He does a Pokemon Go podcast, which is
does he really?
awesome. Yeah, and it's pretty like popular. And
Okay.
so like good for him. Like, so
Yeah,
Chris,
awesome.
we love you and we miss you, but we have a new guy, Zach. Zach is awesome. Zach is not to take away from Chris, but like Zach is awesome. Zach has really helped give new life to these songs that me and Joe have been writing for 3 years now.
Yeah,
About
it's been a
16,
minute.
17, 18 songs that we have that are just sitting, waiting. So we've been going over them now that we feel that Zach is, locked in that position for being our bass player, and he's loving it. And it's great because recording demos at the warehouse have been fun because we can kind of just sit there and get stoned and vamped and work on new shit. And he'll be like, all right, let's do this, and I'll add this bass line and blah blah blah, or he'll start following my lead, and or I'll follow what he does now, and it kind of like gives the song a whole new sense of motion and tension and everything like that. So
Well, yeah,
it's been really
sometimes,
fun.
and not even in a negative way, it's just it helps to get fresh ears on it.
Right, absolutely, I agree.
So
Absolutely.
it's like you said, it's nothing against Chris. Not taking anything away from Chris. It's just sometimes that's what you need.
No, I mean, Chris was the backbone as well. As much as now Zach is the backbone, Chris was the backbone as well, and he helped write a lot of those songs as well. So it was a hard transition, not gonna
Mhm.
lie, but it was one that needed to be done. One, and two was, later on, the best for the band right now, because I think we're pumping out the best version of the music that we've had in a while. So now it's just finding that right vocalist. And before, we used to be stuck on like, oh, we need a girl singer. We wanted a girl singer for a while. We used to have an amazing girl singer. Her name's Melissa, and she is awesome. But we parted ways because she moved to New York, and it was just kind of hard to kind of continue being a band, especially one that wants to, for us, we want to be that band that's not like every week at, such and such bar. Like, we don't want to
Yeah.
be the reoccur. It's let's make the product good, let's make it sound good, then build a little bit of buzz, and then be like, let's do support for the incoming touring bands. So like when bands in our genre or like us come into town, we can go to Revolution, or we can go to Culture Room and be like, hey, we'd like to jump on this or whatever. Or they be able to pair a local act to, help draw in some local attention on top of whatever tickets are being sold.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a smart idea because I think where a lot of bands go wrong is they're like, we need to put out material, and it's half-assed material,
Mm-hmm.
and not taking anything away from bands. Like they're not saying they're not talented bands because most of them could be, and most of them are talented bands, but they have this mindset like we have to get material out there, we have to do this and this, and it's like they lose sight of like just make good fucking music.
Yeah.
Like just make
Yeah,
good
just
music,
make a good product. That's all you got
get
to
it
do. I mean,
solid.
that's what music is. It's a product that at the end of the day, it's you need to sell it to other people to buy a ticket to come see it. That's what you got to do.
Exactly.
That's what you got to do. So, if you want to be support for a very like sounding band, then you already know that they're making their sales for their diehard fans. So you need to go out and be like, hey, we're playing with this very similar band that plays our style, blah, blah, blah. You bring your fans, you already have their dedicated fans. They start to, then you can now get better exposure this way. So it is quality over quantity, but in the sense where quantity, we will flood the market with on Spotify. Yeah, we'll put out a single, we'll put out a cover here, we'll put out the EP, and then we'll put everything digitally out and everything like that. But like gigs, we don't want to be like the same band that's at the same bar every week. That's not,
Yeah.
we don't want to do that. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. If you're a band in any state that is going out on the weekend and playing the same bar over and over again, if you're getting paid and people are listening to you and you're not just sitting there passing the time, fine. Arguable, whatever.
Arguably.
Thank you. Couldn't say it. If you're just sitting there and that's your practice time, more power to you too. Cool. You want to play to no one? Fine. You could do it at home for free. You didn't have to lug your gear home or your gear out. You could have done that at home. But all I'm saying is that it's better to put out more stuff that we're on a mass, like YouTube and Spotify, and doing stuff like that, like iTunes, putting your music out and letting that circulate on the internet, while you then tighten up your live show while we're at the warehouse, making sure everything is pinpoint, everything sounds right, we understand our tone, we understand our leveling, we understand our where our stops and our little things are, because making that tighter and being able to recreate that on stage the best we can will just help sell it later. It's you want to sell a good show. We want to put on a good show, and we want to make sure the music is good before we go put on that good show.
Yeah, no, and I think you touched on that.
I was like, did I use those right? I don't think I used those right.
No, I mean I know exactly what you're talking about. I think you touched on it when you were like, you got to make sure that our tone is right, and this is right, and especially tone, because a lot of times you'll listen to a band on like a CD or on Spotify. There's not many people rock CDs anymore. You listen to them on Spotify or whatever, however you listen to them, and they sound one way, and then you go see them live, and you're like,
right,
wait a minute,
right,
like that
like,
doesn't sound anything.
They don't sound anything like
anything like it. And I've seen bands like that, and I'm not talking like local bands. I'm talking like national touring bands, and I'm just like okay.
Listen, Blink-182. As much as I love that band,
I didn't want to say it because I know how much you love them.
I'm honest though. I'm
but
100% honest.
that's one band. You know what is a band that I've seen that's the opposite of that? I actually like them, they're live. I don't even know if they're a band anymore. I don't think they are. There's a band called Sky Eats Airplane.
Sky Eats Airplane. Wow, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah, and I saw them years ago with it was like Devil Wears Prada, A Day to Remember, Omarosa, and Sky Eats Airplane. And
that's a good lineup.
Yeah, and Sky Eats Airplane opened. They opened up the show. I saw them at Culture Room, and they opened up the show, and I heard them on like CDs before, and I was like, oh, they're not bad. And I saw them live. I was like, well, they're so much better live.
Right.
Which was that was the first time that I've ever seen that, because normally it was like you listen to an album, you're like, oh, let's go, you see them live, and you're like, wow, these guys are terrible. Right. So when I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I'm like, I didn't even know that was like possible. Like you could be better live.
I remember seeing Unearth on stage for the first time, and I was standing off. It was like Warped Tour 2000. What year was this? I literally have the set list for everything for 2000. Awesome. This is 2014 because we played. So we were on Ernie Ball stage, and we played.
Oh, that was when you were with the Romantics.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, I saw you guys.
That's right. You're in the music video for that.
I am in the music video.
Yeah. So we played with like Chunk No Captain Chunk, The Skylit Drive, I the Bear, Lost in Society, Mixtapes, I Fight Dragons. And then there's a bunch of other like local names like Oblivious Signals, Making Faces, Omissions. Just not like real South Florida cock rock that I wasn't into. I have no fucking shame. I said it. What? Half of those bands don't even fucking exist anymore.
No, they don't. They don't. Definitely don't.
My old band doesn't even exist anymore. Now they're werewolves.
Yeah.
Shout out AJ Diaferio.
Oh man, it's crazy to like just how much different things are.
And this, remember, this is 2014. So take 2014. Like, let's use this as an example. 2014 until now. It's been fucking weird.
Yes.
Especially for music. Like, what the fuck happened in South Florida?
Everyone got complacent. I personally feel like everyone got complacent. Nobody had any more originality, and everyone just kind of got stagnant, and the whole scene just kind of fell apart because
Says the two guys who like pop punk.
whatever. I don't give a fuck. So what?
Own it.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I like. There's some bands I like, and I honestly like look at myself and I'm like, how the fuck do you like that band? I'm just like, I don't know. But I feel like that's what it is. Everyone wanted to have this like cookie cutter sound where it's just like, oh well, let's try to sound like this band, but like not really. And then they want to sounding exactly the same. And it's like just be yourself.
Right.
And that's where a lot of bands go wrong, is that everyone wants to sound like someone else. It's like, just be yourself, and I promise you'll be better off.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. Like, I think that the scene is poisons that mindset for bands too. It's certain bands get to like, okay, I hate to say this. I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Okay, so when you go to like places like Respectables, right? And those bands who always play Respectables, and we know those bands, those very indie bands that always play there and stuff like that. That has become such a niche little scene. Like, I feel like if you don't have a trust fund, you're not allowed to be in it. That's just how West Palm works, apparently. So I've been told.
So true.
So I've been told.
It's so true.
I used to live in Lake Worth. I used to go to Speakeasy. I used to go to Propaganda all the time. Like, I lived right down the street. I love those places. Listen, I got punched in the face at a grenade face show, and it wasn't fun. That was before I knew who Dan Colombo was. Later on, I told him the story, and then he figured out. He was like, "Oh, you're the kid who got punched in the face." That was like my first show coming to Florida. I was like, "I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go experience."
Yeah, welcome to Florida, punk.
Yeah, it literally was. It was me standing on the outside of the pit, holding a PBR, just drinking a beer, watching Grenade Face. And douchebag just rocked me in the face, and then I took 2 steps forward, and like I balled my hand up, and then like 4 dudes came up on me, and I was like, all right, I'm going outside. I'm leaving. I was
Never mind.
I was like, I've seen how this goes in Jersey. I was like, I'm not letting this happen to me here in Florida. I got no support.
Yeah, right. Lonely moment.
Yeah, it was scary. I was honestly, I have no problem admitting when I'm a bitch, and I was a bitch then. I was like, oh, okay, yep. No, but this is the back door.
Oh,
This
punch in the face,
door.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it.
Here, just not here. Here, yeah.
Yeah, not this side. This is my good eye.
Yeah.
That's insane. But yeah, you're right. And I mean, I have my gripes against. There's a lot of things in this local scene within the past 3. I mean, not in the past 3, that within the 3 counties. Because that's the weird thing about South Florida, is like a lot of people think like South Florida is like this one little spot. It's a big area.
It's big, yeah.
It's 3 different counties.
Like,
I mean,
Port St. Lucie, technically, you have up until that counts as South
Florida. I mean, from you think like all the way
from
Miami down, all the way up to, like you said, Port St. Lucie, West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing, and I've always felt this way, and I grew to hate it even more, being a new arrival. It's just local promoters. New arrival.
Every time you say the name, I'm just gonna be like, nah.
Yes.
For those listening to the audio edition, I'm wearing a New Arrival t-shirt.
Yes. Yeah, just local promoters, I feel like they are such a drain on the local music scene, and it's just like, I feel like we don't need them. Like,
you don't.
I don't think the local scene needs promoters. Like, if you want to be like a local promoter in the aspect of bringing touring bands in, that's one thing. But if you are a local promoter where you're just, I'm gonna put together.
Yeah, but honestly, Wolfgang, how many local promoters do you know who have capital sitting around to be like, oh yeah, Hawthorne Heights, like they're doing a reunion tour, like, yeah, let me bring them into town. How much do you guys cost?
Yeah, no, you know what?
Just giving a name. I'm just giving you a name.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say someone's name here, but I'm going to say names of bands who've played at O'Malley's, and you'll know who books those shows. Okay, so like Hawthorne Heights or Fall of Troy or those kind of bands that are getting booked at O'Malley's. that guy needs to get collateral somewhere. He needs to be able to pull out money and be like, all right, here, I'm going to put a deposit on the band coming into play, and then you guys will get the rest or whatever, plus whatever the cut of the door was that is your guarantee. That is agreed upon a month or so, 2 months, 3 months before the band even shows up to Florida to play the gig.
Mm-hmm.
So to have that kind of capital to be able to be like, all right, this band and this band and this band and this, it's hard. That's the thing, is you would need a company like Live Nation to work with a smaller venue, where Live Nation would represent smaller bands, maybe not the touring big amphitheater bands, take the smaller bands and work with them and find a way to filter them in to work at the more local venue levels. So that way you can get venues packed more with constant business, getting spots filled and stuff like that. But, COVID needs to fucking end and people need to stop being an asshole. So wear a mask.
Very true.
So many points hit in a few seconds. Sorry.
No, it's just funny because like you said, like you were just naming points, and like in my head, I'm like, yep.
This is how I think. This is how I work every day. So like, I have to be like, okay, we're doing this and then that and this and that and that, because my job is fucking insane. It's changed. One, we can't mention where I used to work. Okay.
No.
So we're not going to mention
the place
that.
doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that place doesn't exist anymore. But now I work for volume.com, which is an amazing site. It's Twitch, but for musicians.
Go ahead, but explain it a little more.
Okay, so musicians, please,
yes,
listen to me. Fuck Twitch. Fuck
I love
YouTube.
that you like looked over your shoulder. Someone was gonna be there.
Because my girlfriend said something and it kind of sounded like it coincided with what I was saying. So it was just like, is she listening or no? Okay, cool. Twitch and YouTube can go eat a butt. Okay, you got.
There's some people are into that.
Listen, no booty shaming, no booty eating shaming. I'm 2021. We can be progressive. Groceries.
On some people's lists. I get it.
So I can't believe I'm associating groceries now. And volume. Sorry, volume. Okay, so volume is like Twitch, but for musicians. So if you're a musician, if you can have access to an internet connection and a webcam or a DSLR or whatever, good 1080p webcam, you want to film your practices, you want to broadcast your live gig at that local bar and get a little bit more money, where people from all over the world 24/7, you can broadcast 24/7. There's no cap of how long, how much. Other viewers can tip you amps. They're like digital tokens or whatever, like bits on Twitch, I guess we'll use the example, and people can tip you and stuff like that. And you can, if you're an artist, at the end of when you hit end your stream, if you want your payout in the next day or two, just cash out, boom, we're taking it. We're going to take that money, we're going to take all the amps that you got, we're going to pay you out, and we take far less percentage than what fucking Jeff Bezos is trying to take out of your goddamn pocket. I'll tell you that. So we've got a bunch of people who are playing Rocksmith on the site. So you got people who are just like shredding guitar, and it's awesome. I'll go in, I'll be like, can you play Ghost? And I'll just have a whole channel playing Ghost, and I get to sit back and listen to Ghost while I work. So it's amazing. So I mean, there's really great talented people. There's young people, there's older people, there's jazz, there's metal, there's hip, there's everything.
Is there like a category, like you can like pick, like, oh, I want to listen to this, or is it just like, oh, you have to find an artist?
We have categories on the side, and you have to remember the site has only been around for a month. Yesterday was our 1 month anniversary, so we're in version beta 1.1 or whatever. So
yeah, you're still a fetus.
Yeah, exactly. And it will grow, it will start to look better, it will function better, but the idea is there. And if you're a musician, whether you're at a coffee shop, you're in your basement, you're in your attic, whatever, if you have an internet connection and you can stream yourself performing, make an account on volume.com. You can start fucking making money right away. For bands, even during the pandemic, like All right, stream your practices, stream yourself in the studio, making your record, doing this, gain a following, make a community. And then that
Yeah.
way they can help you also by donations, by tipping you. Then that money you take and, oh, guess what, guys? We can go to the studio now and pay for the new EP. Or hey, guys, we can go like rent a van for like a weekend warrior tour or something like that. It's an easy way to put extra money into an artist's hands
Yeah.
just by
Even if you
sitting at
hold
home.
an AMA.
Absolutely. Listen, we allow music podcasting. We have nerd podcasts, people who sit and they talk about, superhero movies and stuff like that. We allow that on our site.
Well, then I might have to go make my own little thing.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to do like a music review podcast or something like that, or a nerd review, dude, it is open place. The only thing is you can't do is you can't play video games on the site. But given, this is Volume. This is a place for musicians
Yeah, I'm
and
not
for
gonna.
performing arts. So if you're a comedian, welcome to Volume. You can do your comedy act on Volume. If you're a saxophone player, a fucking flute player, if you DJ, if you dance, come on Volume. You can dance
Well,
and
shit.
get
I
paid
mean,
for it.
you know what? I might have to do take you up on that and start
I've
my
been
own
trying to. The people
account.
don't
That's
take it really
you have
serious.
sent me a link,
Yes.
and I will be honest. I was like, "Oh, thanks, dude," and I just kind of let
Right.
it sit. I
A
was like, "I
lot
don't
of
know what
people.
the fuck
A
this."
lot of people do. But the good thing is, right now, because it's only a month old, if you've got a really cool setup and you've got a really good idea, sign up on Volume. There's such a good chance right now, if you have a good thing going on, that you could build a really good fan base. And this is a worldwide thing. This is not just, you're not going to be there's no algorithm that only shows you to certain people. No. When people come to the site and you're listed there, they see you. Everyone sees you. There's no algorithm doing something to block you or not. You're not fighting
Yeah.
for a spot. If you got good content and people are watching, you start to move up on that ranking, you'll be shown first. We do it fair.
No, that's the way it's supposed to be. And that's cool that there's no algorithms. I mean, that's what screws up a lot of
No
a lot of
ads.
bands.
Better quality than Twitch streams at. We have no ads before a video, in the middle of a video. No, fuck that shit. We don't do that.
Shit, I mean, I'm sold.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's an awesome place. There's really great people on there. Of course, it's a new site too. So when you come see it, when you go to volume.com, there might be some acts that you don't think are of quality, but if you come in on at the right time, I'm telling you, if you check out people like at volume.com/Ari, ARI, dude is a beast. He's like, I call him Baby Logic. Dude is sick with it. He loops, sings, like plays piano and builds all his beats and everything on the fly. Dude is sick.
That's cool.
Dude
Yeah.
is sick. So I mean, there's a lot of good talent that's on the site. It just needs a little bit more time to bake. But I'm telling you, when shows and festivals start to come around, you're gonna start seeing the Volume name a lot more.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. That's awesome. I feel like musicians, on a national level or a local level, there's never really been that. There's been like YouTube, sure,
Right.
or now with the pandemic, I think there's been like a couple. Like I know Atreyu did it. Every Time I Die has done it. There's been a few bands that have done like live streams, but that's like through a website. That's like a third-party website, so it's like
Right, they're doing it through a third-party website. And now think about, like, let's like I know that Newfound Glory does it. Like, they've been doing live streams and selling digital tickets and stuff like that. Now imagine if they just made a Volume page. Boom, now you can either stream for free and give it to your fans, or have your fans make accounts too, and then be able to get tips from their fans. So instead of being able to just charge for the ticket, charge them $10 for a ticket, the possibility of giving them, okay, we'll give you the digital pass for free to come see the concert. If you make an account and then you buy some amps and you tip some amps, then hey, guess what? Like, you were able to there's a possibility where you can make more than what you would have charged for the ticket per person.
Mhm.
So it has its benefits. And
Yeah, it
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
probably
it.
have to cut this now because I'm getting a message from work that I need
Uh-oh.
to.
They heard you.
I have to come into a Zoom right
They
now.
heard you. They were like,
So
"Oh, you want to talk about it?" Oh, that's
yeah,
cool. Awesome. Oh, that was fun.
we'll do another one for sure.
Yeah, no, of course. I'll definitely have you back on. You were easy to talk to. You can hold the conversation and it flows a little well. I enjoy that. I appreciate it. Once again, Dave from Off the Post.
I'm Dave.
I feel like you've plugged everything unless you got something else you want to
I
throw
got
out
nothing,
there.
man. I got nothing, man. The only thing I want to left to plug is
Oh,
Ferreira.
you beautiful bastard, bro. Love you so much.
All right,
All
well,
right, man. I'm much appreciated, buddy.
congratulations too with everything that you're doing right now. You deserve it, sir. You've been busting your
I
ass.
listen, man. I appreciate it, and when shows get back up and you guys get a singer, I'll be there.
Love you, bud.
You know me. I'll be out there. I'll be there on my shirts. Buy this.
All right, fine. You get a merch table next to us.
That's fine. I'll make shirts for you guys. You let me know.
There you go, man.
All right, buddy. Be good.
Take
I
it
love
easy.
you. Later.
You too. Bye. Love you too.